Zwift races are probably the most fun you can have while stuck on an indoor trainer. And when combined with a smart training plan, Zwift races are a great way to boost that fitness for those in real life races, which is why most of us are stuck on the trainer to begin with. And with the rise of the Zwift Racing League on Tuesday nights and the Esports World Championships and just the sheer number of people riding and racing on Zwift, it's never been a better time to get into Zwift racing yourself. But it can be a little daunting to figure out exactly what you need, how to do it, how to get set up, just how to do the event in the first place. So this is everything you're going to need to get started racing on Zwift, beginning with the gear. You're going to need a smart trainer, a power meter, a heart rate monitor, a fan, a bigger fan, water bottles, some towels, finally, music. Now I can hear you typing away in the comments saying that you don't actually need all of these fancy things, and while it's true, you can get away with Zwift racing with just a Zwift account and a trainer. That's technically all that you need. But all of the things that I mentioned are going to vastly increase your racing experience. And since this is all about having fun on Zwift, I feel that these things are critical to a good racing experience. So let's break it down, starting with that smart trainer. Technically, you can ride on Zwift with a dumb trainer, and that's mostly fine. But when you get into racing, feeling the terrain change is a big part of what makes racing competitive and what helps you do well in races. So when you hit that climb, you want to know that you're on a climb. It's going to help you push against the pedals. It's going to make that feel more realistic, which is going to help it be more enjoyable, and you'll do better. Power meter, also technically not required. Without a power meter, Zwift will use something called Z-Power. Do not use Z-Power. Banned in most races, and the ones that don't ban it, people are not going to like it. It vastly overestimates your power, and it really makes the race unfair for everybody else. So I think a power meter is a requirement for Zwift racing. Heart rate is sort of similar. Technically you don't need it, but more and more races are requiring that you have heart rate. Many of them won't stop you from joining the race, but you might find that you get disqualified at the end and you've been removed from the results because you didn't have a heart rate monitor on. Fans, you are going to sweat a lot, and you would be surprised how hot and humid even a big space like a basement can get when you're racing on Zwift. So you are going to want a fan, a big fan, and turn that thing all the way up to 11. Along the same lines, towels. You are going to want towels because you will sweat everywhere. I usually drape it over the front of my bike, protect that headset a little bit, and use it to wipe off my face when I can't see. And with that much sweat, you're going to want a water bottle. Definitely keep water close by so you can stay hydrated, especially for those longer races. Finally, music. This is probably the most subjective on the list, but for me, it is a requirement. If my music cuts out in the middle of a race, I'm done racing. I just don't understand people who can just sit there with their own thoughts and race on Zwift. So for me, it's a requirement. I've got a playlist, lots of heavy metal, lots of rock, really great motivation when the Zwift racing gets really hard and I'm getting tired. So your gear, you're all set up, you're ready to go, you're riding on Zwift. Now what? Well, you need to sign up for a race, and you do that the same way you'd sign up for any other event. You're going to need your companion app on your phone. And if you don't have the companion app, you can download it from whatever app store, whether Google or Apple, they'll have it in the app store. So we've opened the companion app, and we're going to click on the drop-down menu in the upper left. And we're going to say Events, and then we're going to filter. We're going to filter by whatever you want to look for, and we're looking for races. So you can see that I've already got that selected. Now these are all of the races coming up, so I can select whichever one I want. Now this is the one that I've already selected. This is the one that I'm going to do. So if you click on it, scroll down, it's going to ask you for your categories. Now this is relatively new, but Zwift is actually blocking people from racing in categories that were inappropriate for them. So you can see for me, I can't select any of these, but for you, you might be able to select all, some of them, whatever is appropriate for you. You can see that each category is based off of watts per kilo. So if you've ever done an FTP test, that'll be your threshold power. So you would take that power number, divide it by your weight in kilograms, and that'll give you a rough guideline as to where you need to be. So you can see that I've selected the A category. You'll get a green check mark next to that race. And that's all you need to do as far as the app is concerned. Then, get on your bike. I usually like to get on my bike 30 minutes beforehand, get a good warm up in, and get ready to race. 30 minutes to go before your event. Zwift is going to give you a message at the bottom half of your screen. It's going to ask you if you want to join the event. The same thing that they would do for any other Zwift event. I don't like to join right away. I like to wait till about 5 minutes beforehand. Otherwise, you're just stuck in the pen, just riding, not getting anywhere, which is ironic because I am stuck not going anywhere on my trainer. So I like to wait maybe about 5 minutes beforehand. I'll click the join event in the bottom left of the screen, and that'll take me to the start. This is where Zwift racing really becomes a skill. Just like racing in real life, it takes some time to get used to the subtleties of the race. One of the first things you will see on a Zwift race is how fast it starts. So 2 to 3 seconds before the event starts, I start to ramp up, not a full sprint, but ramp up some big power. That way, right when it starts, I know that I'm going to accelerate and I'm going to be in that front group. You can be caught out immediately and be dropped and be done within the first 5 seconds. So be ready for that initial sprint. After that, it really is just like racing in real life. You want to stay with the pack. You don't want to be too far in the front. Don't want to be too far in the back. The key is learning how to control your avatar so that you stay where you want to. Because obviously you don't have direct control over it, and there's a bit of a delay between when you do something on the trainer and when it happens on the screen. So you gotta learn how to manage it. But that's all part of it. That's all part of the fun. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, comment below. We'll do our best to answer them for you. And hopefully we'll see you out in some Zwift races.